Right, morning ladies and gents. Today we're going to look at plant organs and tissues. So fingers crossed by the end of today you'll be able to tell me what the main organs of a plant are and know what the function of those organs are. And we're going to look at then the main cells and the tissues in a leaf and be able to look at the function of those. Might be a little bit of stop-starting here as we go through the video, and you've got a worksheet that you can answer questions on as we go through. So let's kick off, shall we? Right, so here's a starter. Feel free to pause this and have a sketch of this plant. Ironically, this is my son's homework at the moment is to label these parts of a plant. So if you want to pause the video and have a look and see if you can identify what A, B and C and D are and what they do, and we'll have a look at the answer in a second. Okay, so let's start at the top then. A is a flower, obviously, and that's part of the reproductive system of the plant. So obviously that the flower will attract bees and help sort of the bees to cause the plants to reproduce. But other parts of the reproductive system, you might have fruit, you might have cones, you might have seeds. The second part, obviously, B with the leaves. Leaves are the primary site of photosynthesis, and we'll look at the adaptations of a leaf to help them photosynthesize in a little bit. C was the stem, and the stem does a number of jobs. Main job really is to support and elevate the leaves. Plants need to get sunlight, and they need to get close to sunlight, so obviously the bigger and longer the stem is, the more effectively they can get that sunlight. It's also to transport water and nutrients from the roots to the shoots, and also other nutrients as well, and it stores water and nutrients as well. The roots do two main jobs. One of the main jobs is they absorb nutrients and water from the soil, but also they anchor the plant. They provide physical anchorage, stop it blowing over or getting blown away, and they also store certain nutrients as well. So those are the four main parts of a plant, and you should know what they are and what they do. Right, but let's look at the leaf in more detail. Okay, task 2, you've got this diagram already. You need to match the name of each part of the plant or part of the leaf on your diagram. So at the top you've got waxy cuticle. The wax cuticle is actually is waterproof, and the reason it's waterproof is because plants do not need water on the leaves, they need water in the roots, and so the plant leaf will actually direct the water downwards into the soil below the plant. So they will siphon water downwards so that the rainwater goes to their own roots rather than being wasted going anywhere else. Then you've got the upper epidermis. Epidermis basically means skin. We use the same word for our skin, so that's the upper layer. Then you've got the palisade layer. Then you've got the mesophyll layer. Then you've got the spongy mesophyll in the middle. At the bottom you've got stoma, and you've got the lower epidermis. And again, there's a waxy cuticle on that. And the bit at the bottom you might struggle to read are guard cells. So we'll look at those in a bit more detail, but if you want to pause the video and complete your worksheet, now would be a good time to do so. Right, so why have plants got this structure? Well, let's think about the processes that take place. Now, we've met this before. Oh God, we can't do everything. Now, this is a brilliant mnemonic for remembering an important equation. The important equation is this. So O is oxygen, God is glucose, the exclamation mark is an arrow. We is water, can't do, carbon dioxide, and in brackets I've put energy. Energy has no business being in a word equation. This isn't part of the equation, but it is a process that gives out energy, which means it is exothermic. It gives out heat energy, and hopefully you will all remember the name of this equation. This is anaerobic respiration. Now, anaerobic respiration is a really crucial equation because this is the process whereby all living things generate energy from some form of food or some form of fuel. And it's one of the criteria for all living things is that they respire. Now, plants are living things. They need energy for lots of processes. So plants respire. And they do this 24/7. Plants will respire all the time in the same way that we respire all the time. But another process that plants do that we don't is the exact opposite of respiration. If I reverse that word equation, so carbon dioxide plus water, arrow, glucose plus oxygen, I've just reversed that equation. What is that reaction and what does it need to take place? Well, this time, instead of being an exothermic reaction like respiration, this time it's endothermic. It has to absorb energy to do the reverse reaction, and it needs a chemical called chlorophyll to do so. This is photosynthesis, and this is what plants do. Plants make food using energy from the sun. They generate their own food source. So they're what we call the primary producer because they do that. They take energy from the sun, they convert that into food. They're the only organism on Earth that does that, with the odd exception. So this is photosynthesis. Plants do both of this process. Photosynthesis they will do when there is daylight, so they'll do this during the day. Respiration they will do all of the time when they have to generate that energy. So let's go back to the structure of the leaf. How is this designed, or how has this evolved to maximise its ability to take place with photosynthesis? So, first question, where do we get chlorophyll from? What organelles contain chlorophyll? Think back to when we looked at cells. Chlorophyll is contained in organelles called chloroplasts. So which cells have the most chloroplasts? If you look at the diagram, you'll see loads of dots in some of those cells, and the cells that contain the most chloroplasts are the ones at the top. Those are the palisade cells. And if you draw a plant cell, chances are the plant cell you're drawing is a palisade cell. That's the sort of typical, in inverted commas, plant cell that we draw. So, in that plant cell, in that palisade cell, photosynthesis will take place. So the palisade cells are right at the top of the plant because that's where the light is going to hit. That's where the majority of the light is going to hit, so they contain large amounts of chlorophyll. So what are the reactants they need to do that? Well, they need two. They need carbon dioxide and they need water. So the water comes up from the roots, through the stem, and that goes out into the leaf by lots of little veins. The carbon dioxide comes through little holes in the bottom. The little holes in the bottom are called stoma. Now those stoma are little variably sized holes, and they are opened and closed by the guard cells. The guard cells will be open during the day because that allows them to control the amount of carbon dioxide going in and also the amount of oxygen coming out, because oxygen is the byproduct of photosynthesis. But also it controls a process called transpiration. It controls the amount of water that is lost, and we'll look at transpiration much later. So during the night time, where very little photosynthesis is going to take place because there's no daylight, the guard cells will close up, so the stoma will close. But during the day, the stoma will be opened as the guard cells open them up, and there's a big spongy mesophyll layer which has lots of airspace in. It's spongy because that allows the gases to diffuse. There's a higher concentration of carbon dioxide outside of the plant, so carbon dioxide diffuses into the plant, and that reacts with water to make glucose, and the oxygen byproduct is then a higher concentration inside the cell, so that diffuses outwards. So the structure of a leaf is designed to maximise photosynthesis. There's a lot of space to allow gases to diffuse in and out. You've got stoma, which control the amount of carbon dioxide going in. So during the day they'll be open for photosynthesis. In the evening they will close because the plant will be respiring all of the time, but only photosynthesizing in the day. The upper part of the cell, the upper part of the leaf contains palisade cells, and those palisade cells have large amounts of chloroplasts so that they can maximize photosynthesis. So what I'd like you to do now is have a look at the second page of your worksheet. There are some questions there to do with the structure of a leaf and also the processes that take place there. So do use the information on this PowerPoint to help you with that. At the end, if you have any questions or when you want to submit the work, please email me as usual at crum@thhs.net. Okay, thank you very much.